The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
TBS, America's #1 independent television network, presents the following sports exclusive.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
and this is Andy, and you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
All righty, here we are. The three of us. Zach just got released from the cardiac ward, I believe, at the Orange County Hospital. I'm kidding, of course. He's running a little bit late, but
yeah, he's had an exciting few days.
yeah, right. Oh, wait, let's listen in as Mike types furiously and answers text.
No, I'm hyping the show actually. So
well, hype away, my man.
I'll
eat a peanut while you do that. We can go fuck ourselves.
No, it's I'm just in a few other internet communities I'm a part of. That people there, I've shared the show before and they seem to like it, so I'm just sort of hyping it at the moment. So
cool.
Sweet.
Sharing the links, telling them that we're live.
I mean,
we will mention them by name if they show up.
we're gonna have to give Zach a few minutes to just kind of relish the moment, because in a few weeks he may not have the same reaction. But this is a rare time for a fan to enjoy this. It's a weird feling to know that people are celebrating the birth to the Super Bowl, but it only lasts a couple weeks before it's a footnote.
I wouldn't know. I have no idea what this feels like.
Just a brief side thing, post on the CCSOC forums, understatement of the century, quote, "Man, the Coyotes arena situation is a mess." Yes.
Yep. That's definitely in the running. It's early in 2022, but that was going to be there at the end, folks.
It's so bizarre. I was listening to the Steve Dangle podcast. I don't know if you ever heard of that or not, but they started, I think a year before we did. And they were talking about how even back when the show, the first episode, they were talking about the Coyotes arena problems. And now, all these years later, it's just the same old song and dance. And this whole thing with the Arizona State, they're gonna
second. They're gonna get second billing to the gymnastics team of Arizona State. They're basically gonna get whatever dates.
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen because they would need to build new locker rooms, because they can't use the locker rooms provided by the school.
Yeah, right.
It's
Has
fucking
there ever
embarrassing.
been? Can you guys think of another team anywhere that was failing as miserably in a market as this one is, that a league tried so hard to keep? I can't think
No, because the attendance wasn't an issue in either Winnipeg or Quebec City. There was fan support. The problem there was that both teams needed new arenas, and the Canadian economy was such at the time that neither the Manitoba or Quebec provincial governments were going to grant them funding. And so with no new arena, they were sold off to American investors. But you look at the situation, you go, both those markets had dedicated fan bases. If the league had been willing to gut it out a few more years, by the late 90s, when the Canadian economy started to improve, you would have gotten those arenas. But obviously the NHL had no problem cutting and bailing on Quebec City and Winnipeg,
right,
and at Hartford for that matter too.
Yeah.
And fan support were never issues in those places. But now you look at Arizona, where nobody fucking cares. Their TV game, their games on TV don't draw. Their fucking arena, their live gates don't draw. they're going to be evicted. They're going to be, best case scenario, they're going to be, third billing from the top after Arizona State hockey and gymnastics in an arena that once it's configured for NHL hockey will only be able to seat 3,200 people. And all of this is supposed to be a quote-unquote temporary measure until they get an arena built in Tempe. An arena, by the way, that most people who follow Tempe municipal politics say they don't have the votes to even get approved.
Well, that's my thing with this, though. They've decided to die on the Phoenix Market Hill here for reasons passing understanding, because...
Well, it absolutely does pass understanding. There have been sports economists who are not tied to the NHL who have looked at this situation and have gone like, we don't understand what the NHL is doing. It makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't. And like you said, I mean, you had the Jets leaving Winnipeg. Yeah. You had the Nordiques leaving Quebec. The Whalers leaving Hartford. And the NHL just basically waved them through. Go on. See you later. But the fucking Coyotes, of all teams, I could see if this were the New York Rangers or the Blackhawks or even the Dallas Stars or somewhere along those lines, but the Coyotes, and you're going to go to the mats over this, it makes no sense. Zach, welcome aboard. Super Bowl 56 host and participant.
Woo!
How's your heart after that game yesterday?
Jesus, man. I'm okay. I'm here. I'm alive. I'm excited. I didn't hit the same levels of despair that I did at any point during the previous game. And honestly, I as soon as San Francisco dropped that interception and didn't make that interception and OBJ catches the next pass, I was extremely optimistic despite being down at that point, because I said, you know what? I think they're going to do this.
Hey.
And son of a bitch, they went and did it. Tighter than I would have liked, but you guys all know all of your teams have this. There is one team that just has you for some reason, and that team for the Rams is unfortunately the 49ers, but they bested them on this day, and here we are off to the exotic location of the Super Bowl, our backyard.
Yeah, well, we've got a request, by the way, so let's just do this. Oh, that won't play. Come on,
Greg, hit it.
There we go. I'm on the wrong computer, so I don't have my sound effects ready, so I've got to play it off YouTube. There we go. There we are.
We'll be rocking LA, so let's ram it today. Let's ram it. Ram it.
Ram these players I can recognize in this.
Jack Slater. Jackie Slater.
There's Nolan Cromwell. Eric Dickerson, 47 was.
Sure, right. Eric Dickerson's on there. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, there you go. Chaos Blast. Little ram it for the NFC champion Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah.
I forget who I was talking to, and they were just like so down about sports. And I said, this has been, I won't say they were great games, because I don't think they were. I mean, they were fun games, entertaining games, but man, these last 2 weekends of playoff football have been pretty fun, pretty incredible.
I think Chiefs Bengals was objectively a better game than Rams Niners. I think Rams and Niners both dragged each other down through most of it. But yeah, no, incredible. Nothing was going to live up to the divisional weekend last week, but to have an overtime game and then a game decided with under 2 minutes to play, both field goals, like that's you can't ask for that much more in these playoffs. Wild card weekend aside, these have been pretty good playoffs overall.
Yeah, and entertaining. I won't say it's the best football I've ever seen, but it's been really, really entertaining.
I got to say, we got pretty lucky with the taunting call. When we saw it yesterday, I feel like was that the first one of the playoffs? Because I feel like there hadn't been another taunting penalty.
I don't remember one.
Yeah,
you know what irked me about that?
there might have been one in the Niners-Cowboys game, if I think about it.
I think there was. Now that you mention it,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
But what really bothered me about that call, well, I don't. First off, where was the taunting? I didn't see any. The guy stepped over a
He
play.
said something.
yeah, it's one of those things where you could see where something was said, but you will never know what was said.
Whatever it is, it's a nonsense rule. It's ridiculous. But
I'm
you
gonna-
had Tyreek
I'm going to
Hill.
speculate. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say Tyreek Hill flashing the peace sign all the way down the sideline last week against the Bills. Not a word.
Sure. That's
Well,
up
it's
there
nonsense.
too.
I put money on it being like a homophobic slur, something like that. Because I mean, the ref didn't waste any time.
Yeah.
He like stood up, flexed, said something, and the ref was like, "Oh, flag! I got to throw something." Oh man,
You know
Can't say that.
what I think it is? I don't know if it's a homophobic slur, but I think because with a lot of these now, I this is not to stereotype anybody, but I have a feeling this is a thing where you get a white referee on the sideline and you get a black player calling another black player the N-word with an A on the end, and the white referee is, oh, flag you, sir.
It's almost Black History Month. What are you doing?
So that's my
That makes pretty good sense.
Yeah.
I guess
For a lot because there is a lot of these where again we have no idea what the hell they're saying because it otherwise looks innocuous. There are some where they're like preening and flexing over them, and that's
but who
a
cares?
little different. But
Who cares?
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
I
you
agree. Luckily, it hasn't ruined a whole lot. And if Niners fans are going to complain about that being the difference in yesterday's game,
There's a whole Super Bowl to be played, guys. Don't jinx it.
true.
True.
But like, if somebody is out there saying that the reason the Niners lost this game was a taunting penalty, I could point to 5 other things that were more
Penalty on Aaron Donald for glaring menacingly 15 yards.
Well, thankfully, the referees have forgotten to call roughing the passers on Aaron Donald. Not forgotten, but just like finally let go of, oh, no, he's very strong and the best defensive player in football. He is going to hit people hard occasionally. And also, in that same vein, I'm going to applaud the referees for picking up a flag in the middle of that game on that big hit on Deebo Samuel of the middle.
Yeah.
Everyone throwing their flags because he hit him too fucking hard. And it's like, no. He did not hit him with his head. That is as clean. I'm sorry that it was a hard hit and that Deebo was out for a few plays, but that was as clean of a hit as you could make. Don't leave your guy unprotected over the middle like that, Jimmy. That's your fault.
Well, we were Andy and I were talking about that in the text thread yesterday that we both thought it was a clean hit. Even just it was shoulder to chest. It wasn't head to head. It wasn't anything like it. He didn't leave with his helmet. It was clean as it can get. Yeah. Every once in a while, football's a violent game. You're going to see that happen on occasion. There's really no way unless we just go completely to flag football, there's no way to take that out of the sport. It's going to happen once in a while, and it's unfortunate, but that's the way it's going to be. You can't make it perfect. And I'm glad they picked up the flag. In college, the guy's probably getting kicked out of the game, for the same play. Yeah.
Yeah, but man,
How's it feel? This is your second one in 4 years, so
that's what I was going to say. Like, I don't want to I recognized sort of after the game was over, after everybody left, and I was just kind of having my thoughts to myself, how lucky I am to be in the position I'm in. Because not only do I have the two here with the Rams in such a short time, them being back, I saw a team that I rooted for win the Super Bowl, and the Colts in 2006 season, 2007. Sorry,
Sad.
Andy.
It's okay.
But then I sat there and I
Evan Hester kickoff return. That was fun.
yeah. But I think about like the 2 Super Bowls that the Rams have been to now. We had Mike winning one last year, and then in his first year cheering for the Bucks. But our teams, like all of Mike and I's new teams, have been to the Super Bowl now multiple times before. Greg, your Packers have gone back, before the Browns have ever been, before the Bears have been back.
I feel for the Browns. I really do feel for the Browns. I want that team to get their due at some point. But fuck the Packers, man. I don't give a shit about them.
Let me explain too. I've always liked the Packers since I was a kid. They've always been like one of those.
No, I know.
But I will say this: that when the main reason that I got so on board, to make a long story short, when the Browns moved in '95, I kind of said, okay, I'll make the Packers my team. When the Browns came back, I had some re-entry issues. I was like, this doesn't feel like the Browns. It took a long time for me to finally go, okay, this actually
wasn't setting the world on fire for you.
Well, it wasn't even that. I mean, I'm used to the losing. That wasn't anything to get used to. That was already there. That part of it they got exactly right.
Was it the second ever game in franchise history where they would have won, but the guy took his helmet off or something? And
no, that was in 2002 or 2004.
Oh,
that was but anyway. So with the Packers, it's always been more like a business transaction. Like I bought stock. I want my fucking shareholders Super Bowl ring. And that's pretty much where it ends.
So
with the Browns, I mean, like I'd still be weeping tears of joy if the Browns had done this yesterday.
Yeah,
that's the one that's in my heart,
But this thought of the early Super Bowls has kind of played into my thoughts too. Over people were trying to give the Rams and their fan base shit for the last week, based on the ticket sales and how the crowd looked and all that. And it's like the team was gone for such a long time that people moved on. And now that they're back, they have to do a lot to win people over. And yes, they made it to a Super Bowl, but that was the first. They were still in the Coliseum then, and it was still this weird transitional period where the uniforms weren't right and they had to wear throwbacks and they had to petition to wear the throwbacks because otherwise they would have worn these weird jerseys. Now we have our own stadium. We have our own uniforms. We have a team that has been.
Let's not brag about the uniforms.
Yeah, you don't want to.
But they are. They are not. But they're not St. Louis's uniforms.
No, that's true. That's true. And I did want to ask: is there any scuttlebutt in LA about which uniform they're going to wear?
It's all about the Bengals choice.
The Bengals are the home team, so they get to pick. And they're in a weird spot where they started off at home, but they've been on the road twice. So maybe they go with the white, maybe they go with the home, and what they do will depend on what the Rams do. And then if the Rams are the road team, like if the Rams are the home, or if the Rams get to wear their home uniforms, it's going to be blue over gold. That's what they've worn the whole time. It's not going to change. If they're the designated road team, like uniforms wise, do they go bone because that's the primary look? Do they petition to wear the throwback whites, which they won their last Super Bowl in? It's a weird spot to be in, and the Bengals are the ones that hold the cards in this case.
Well, I'm going to say I'm not a big fan of the Rams' current uniforms in general, but if they wear the what they're calling the new throwbacks,
modern
throwbacks, if they wear those. Or if they wear the blue over gold, that stuff I can begrudgingly get behind. There's a lot of details I don't like, but they still look like the Rams in either of those looks. If they roll out with bone, I'm sorry, they deserve to lose on principle. Like,
yeah, I mean, they may not have a choice. Is kind of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they're designated, like if the Bengals choose their black jersey. The Rams, they could petition for the white, but the NFL doesn't have to grant that, and so they'll have to wear the bone, and that's
trying to think of what the Bengals wore the black.
The Bengals, the UniWatch did a whole thing this morning that I read. So they've worn black over white, and they've worn white over white.
Right. Yeah.
So their options are pretty open as well.
You'd think they'd go white on white just because that's what they've been winning in. They've been wearing their
right, but they also they hosted the wild card game.
True.
So
yeah, but they're on a roll now, man. I mean, and the home game was against the Raiders, right? Yeah,
yes.
The first wild card weekend. Then they went on the road and they took out the number 1 seed wearing the white. Then they went out on the road and took out who everyone agrees is probably the best team in the AFC in the white.
Yeah,
I'm not messing with that. I'm going.
No, and there's something really cool about like, yes, the team is named after like a cat that exists in like a tropical climate, but like you've got Cincinnati, which especially this time of year is pretty cold. You've got, the whole Joe Burrow ice in his veins thing kind of going on.
Joey Burr.
Yeah, right? So like, I don't know. I feel like this iteration of the Bengals works with the white over white. Like that.
Well, not only that, but those Tigers that kicked the shit out of either Siegfried or Roy, they were white Tigers.
That's true. That's true.
I I think if we get white over white versus the Rams blue over gold, that's probably our best.
Yeah, I agree.
Option.
And if the Rams do the modern throwbacks, that would be fine too. But
That would be
short of
fine,
that,
yeah.
I swear if the Rams end up wearing like bone and then the Bengals end up wearing the clownfish pants, we should just let Andy go off and.
Well, there's just there's right and there's wrong. I hope the Bengals do the right thing. And don't do the wrong thing. Because I was so, as I was salivating over the uniform matchup in the Super Bowl, it is just a little disappointing because the Rams helmets, I was, watching the whole game long, trying to, just trying to make the best.
You look at it wanting it to connect, and it just
so
doesn't.
Close. Like the helmet thing is, it's like, if you just connect. Make those horns disconnect. Take that stupid line out and just make them touch. Then you're good.
I've come around on it where, like, if you're watching from a distance, the horn on the helmet looks fine. When you zoom in, of course, yes, you notice it, but it looks. I can live with the helmet as is. The numbers I can just never come around on. It kind of is what it is.
That's the same point I was just about to make. That, like, if you from a distance. I'm okay with the helmets, and from a distance, the uniforms look good. It's when you zoom in and you see that gradient.
Oh, so there is our benevolent overlord Chris Kramer has provided a handy chart for our Super Bowl uniform needs.
Oh, we got to break that. Does he have breaking news on who's going to wear what, or is he just
no?
He has what they could look like. Yeah,
it's like if they choose this, then yeah.
I will share the screen here. Let me Chrome tab.
It's interesting that he does show the alternates because I believe that the teams have to wear their primary sets unless they petition, and I don't know if the Bengals would petition to wear orange.
The one thing that
maybe they would because they lost in the black over white. Who knows?
The one thing that stands out to me is I remember back in a day, Zach, where you and my allegiances were very different. The Chargers ended up wearing powder blue in the playoffs and pulled up an upset against the Colts.
Right.
And like that was a really weird situation because that was not the Chargers' primary uniform at the time. They just sort of wore it. And people were like, are they allowed? How are they is this going to be their dark uniform for the playoffs? And then, of course, they lost the very next game. So we never got an answer to that question. But, it did kind of, that game did kind of stick the idea in my mind that, like, the NHL, not the NHL, the NFL is probably less of a stickler about this stuff than maybe we think they might be. And if the Rams...
I thought you had to declare it ahead of time. I thought you had to declare it before the playoffs started. What was your home or your road? But
I don't know. I don't know because that would with the Patriots Super Bowl a couple of years ago though they petitioned to wear the
but the Rams in that playoff run also wore the throwbacks at home to start off. They had designated that as their main home jersey leading into the playoffs because they had already done that during the season because they knew they were switching and everybody hated the white face mask nonsense that they were flipping with. So
the weird thing about that white face mask on those helmets, though, was that the team opened it up to a poll and the white face masks won. And it's sort of like you people are everyone who voted in that poll was dumb. Why did you vote for the worst option? God,
because the general public doesn't know what they actually want.
No, you know what I think when they voted with the white face mask and all that, I think they thought they were going to get some version of the old 70s white and blue uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't. They got the St. Louis Rams road uniforms with white helmets and a white face mask, and it looked horrible.
Luckily, we only got the white face mask with the Navy home jersey one time, I think. Maybe twice.
Yeah.
They had to wear it in Dallas once, and it was just an abomination beyond all regard.
What? So are my eyes betraying me? Because as I watch the game, I feel like the yellow that the Rams use, and I mean, I've obviously worn these for a little while now, but that is certainly not gold. It is like almost
it's
a
soul.
That is like,
which is Spanish for sun.
Really, Sol, sun, Spanish.
SOL, soul.
But the sun is kind of not green. And all the time,
No,
I went out and
it's
I
highlighter
stared at
yellow.
the sun earlier. Yeah, it is. I just somebody needs to like let them know. It's like, hey, did you realize that's like a bad yellow, green, and not gold?
I think this is a Nike problem, honestly, because the Lakers have the same issue with their yellow.
Yeah, it's banana. I don't know if it looks so green. It's just very yellow.
Like for some reason, Nike seems to have trouble with athletic gold, which is hilarious.
They have trouble with lots of colors: green, gold.
Remember when the Eagles had to be black for a year because they needed a full season to figure out how to make a green jersey?
Sorry, the green it's tripping us up. Fucking green. Anyway, we can talk about the uniform matchups next week when there's literally nothing else to talk about. If you guys want, we got the 32. The Washingtons are coming out with their thing.
We have some news on that.
Yeah.
Do we have some news? Yeah. So Joe Theismann was apparently on CBS Sports Radio, and this is breaking news. This is all within the last.
Also on the mothership. Yeah.
Yep. So Joe Theismann was talking about the Washington football team, and they asked him what he knew about the new name, and he basically confirmed it's Commanders. He said, quote, "I think the Commanders is a name that's going to be one that hopefully people like going forward." So,
it probably is, and
that's kind of what was leaked before, like a couple weeks ago, right?
All of the uniform, all of the logos that like got leaked, like said Commanders on them. It was hilarious because it was like some video that the team was hyping, and there was a shot over, I think, Doug Williams' shoulder, and he was holding like a sheet that had the Commanders logo on it that just like said Commanders across it. And people were going like, well, this was such an obvious leak. Maybe this is like a smoke screen. And people were, and other people were like,
this is as I'm reading this article further, it's funny. He says Commanders like 5 times.
Yeah.
And then somebody from the Washington Times, not the Post, the much inferior Washington Times, please don't read that, got Joe Theismann on the phone and asked him about it, and he said and then Theismann backtracked and said, not completely sure what the new name was. No one's told me. Like you, I'll find out on Wednesday.
Commanders 5 times, but no, I don't know.
I think that if you're not going to go with the obvious choice, which is the 32s, then Comrades was the way to go with it. You've already got the color scheme. You've already got it.
I just found it hilarious that like people think that Dan Snyder's football team is competent enough to throw up a smoke and mirrors.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
Rather than like the more obvious possibility, which is that they're incompetent and accidentally showed their logo off before the unveiling. Like,
Occam's razor here, which is more likely.
Yeah. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be the Commanders. And the thing about the 32s is I'm actually kind of bemused by how upset some people got over that suggestion. My God,
you know how people are over there. But anyway, so
other football stuff.
Releasing it on the 2nd, right? Yeah, so we'll get to the Comrades next week, which is what I'm going to call them no matter what. So might as well get that fucking hammer and sickle out and go with it and be done.
Is Tom Brady retiring or is Adam Schefter going to retire? Which one happens first?
Can I before we get to Adam Schefter and the Brady stuff, can I just point out one tweet that he made yesterday? Where after the Bengals beat the Chiefs, he said they will play the winner of the Rams and the 49ers. And everybody's like, no kidding, really?
Breaking news.
God.
Breaking news. NFL to trot out new idea. The championship game winners will play each other.
Yeah, I even got on the Bass Twitter thread and said, that's pretty much how this usually works, dude. But yeah, anyway, so is Brady retiring? Wow.
Yes. I believe the answer is 100% yes. I think that he told somebody, and I'm guessing he may have even told Schefter, but he got scooped. And I'm sure he basically threw the wrench in the works because he's like, fuck you guys. I was going to do this my way with my branding team with this big hurrah farewell thing. You assholes couldn't help yourself. You had to go ahead and spread the word right away and screw my big farewell over. I would say it's not 100% is gone because Brady would be like, you know what, fuck that. I want a Derek Jeter farewell tour. I want the Kobe treatment,
Yeah.
But I don't think it's quite the same for the NFL as it is other sports with the whole farewell.
The thing I heard today too about the timing of it all, he gets like an extra, I don't know how many 100,000 million bonus if he's still a Buccaneer by February 4th.
Yeah.
Huh.
So he may be waiting for next week to do it, like ahead of media day or something.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much money.
Do it.
No matter how much money you've got, 15 mils a lot to leave sitting on the table. I don't care where you are.
Especially if all you have to do is hold off on making an announcement for a week. Like,
well, I
don't know if it's even making the announcement or if it just has to like file the paperwork after then. But like, I think one way or another, the Buccaneers will be like, "Oh yeah, I mean, we'll pay you, Tom. Like you did enough for us in a short time." So
I like the conspiracy theory that was floated on the Bill Simmons podcast that that Brady didn't like the way Schefter handled Deflategate, so he did this to make him look like a fool. I mean, look, it's just fun. I don't think that's what happened either, but it.
No, I think what Andy said is right. I think Tom Brady, especially the way he's embraced social media over the last year, or 2 years, I guess. He probably has this whole song and dance that he wants to do. And maybe he told Schefter, I don't think Brady told Schefter.
No.
And clearly his agent didn't tell Schefter either because of the statement that his agent made. But like, if I'm Tom Brady, I got to be like, look, if I haven't officially made the decision. 2, there's maybe like 5 people that I've told. So who the hell told Schefter?
Yeah.
Would be what I would want to know. But
well, I think the whole thing is notable because like, Scheffner's rarely ever wrong about anything.
Right, exactly. So who knows?
He clearly couldn't resist being first. Whoever he found out from was somebody who was juiced in to whatever Brady's intentions are, and he was probably given that information, and Schefter just could. Like, I don't think Schefter's wrong. He just couldn't help.
Well, interestingly too, the way that ESPN put out the report when it first put it out. It wasn't just Schefter. It was Schefter and Jeff Darlington, who's one of their other like secondary NFL reporters.
Super weird.
So it's like, did 2 people tell them, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, no, your source is my source. Let's report this together." Or did Schefter say it first? Like, I don't know how like the chain of command works for putting out some of that info on in ESPN's ranks, but that's the thing that makes it a little weirder if Brady backs off of it. It's like, well, no, 2 guys had it. It's not just like Schefter trying to jump the gun. It seems like it was out there to some people.
You know what this probably, we want to talk about conspiracies and this and that and the other thing, but you know what probably happened? He probably said it to his team, didn't make it clear like this is not to go out yet, and somebody just blurted it out to someone, and that's how the whole thing got started.
Because I also saw a teammate, like I saw Mike Evans put out a tweet like, "Oh, thank you, Tom, for everything you've done. It's been an honor." So either he's not telling his teammates, or they know too.
You want to know who this never would have happened with? Chris Mortensen. Just saying. He
still technically works for ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
I got a conspiracy theory on it. If you want to hear it,
it's just like I just remember back in the like early 2000s when like Chris Mortensen was the insider guy, and then like Schefter started like and then they started like sharing screen time, and it's like you could tell.
Hated that.
You could tell they were phasing it. It's like,
Mort was not pleased, especially after his cancer and all that.
Yeah. So I'm wondering. This is just my conspiracy theory, but you've got the 49ers out there. I think we can safely say are done with Jimmy G. So now does it become a chess match between Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, and who takes over in San Francisco for a year or 2?
What if they both sign there and then like switch off series?
That would be awesome, right?
you take the first quarter, I'll take the second quarter, and
I will say this because this has actually been something that has been talked a lot about in the Tampa Bay area for a few weeks. I'd say at least the last few weeks of the regular season up until now. People have been talking like, is Tom Brady coming back for another year? And the scuttlebutt in Tampa has been of course, he hasn't said, "Oh yeah, this is my final season," or "I'm coming back," but he has been saying stuff that leads you to believe that retirement is very much a possibility. He's been talking about because previously when people asked him when are you going to retire, and he said, "When I suck," and he had a pretty good season last year, but he's been saying it's not a matter of ability. It's my kids are getting older and I want to spend time with them. And so he was it seemed like he was very much laying the groundwork for, leaving. And it seems like he's been doing that for at least a month now at this point.
Sure. He leaves. And then, Tampa Bay Buccaneers great John Lynch trades Jimmy G to Tampa to take over for Tom again.
And it all worked out in the wash. See,
right?
Can anyone I've seen every single 49ers game this playoffs. Can someone explain to me why anyone once thought that Garoppolo was the next Tom Brady? Because
there was that time that Brady got suspended those 4 games, remember?
Yeah.
And they went 4-0 with Jimmy G, and it was oh my God, look at him. He's been groomed. Look at him. He's ready to go. He's handsome. He's a good quarterback. Let's get him on the market right now.
Didn't work out so well. I don't think he's terrible.
No, he's not bad. He's injury prone.
What did Andy? What did you call him? Handsome Trubisky?
Handsome Trubisky.
Handsome Trubisky. Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah, I mean he's fine. He's
stupid.
To me, he's just very injury prone. He gets hurt all the goddamn time.
Well, going back to the 49ers Rams game, I kind of had the same feeling that the Rams were going to pull it off at the same time you did, Zach, when that interception was dropped, because you look at the way that this 49ers team has been playing this offseason, and they did not get to where they got on the strength of their offense. So
no.
you look at this and you go, okay, the Niners need to get as much out of their defense and special teams as possible if they're going to pull this off. And when you drop a surefire interception that could potentially, put the game away, or at least increase the pressure on the Rams, and you let that opportunity literally slip through your fingers, you're done. Those are the plays that a team in the situation the 49ers were in had to capitalize on if they were going to have a chance. So,
and the thing I was yelling at the Rams to do for 2/3 of the game, as one does, yelling at their TV screen, and the people I had over were like, "Yeah, you tell them, coach." And I said, "Yeah, they better goddamn listen to me." They, for the first for 3 quarters, really, the Rams kept blitzing, and they couldn't get to Jimmy G. And every time they blitzed, they left, I don't know, George Kittle wide open, or gave room for Deebo Samuel or something. And that's where Jimmy G would put the ball, in the space where there was literally nobody around. He wasn't making any highly contested throws. And what they did, especially in the fourth quarter, and most definitely on the final 2 series, is they started only rushing 3 or 4 guys and dropping everybody back into coverage. And instead of blitzing and opening up those holes, just plug everything up and say, "Okay, Jimmy, you beat us. You're not running the ball for shit. Let's see if you can throw a ball. Try to find one." And he had nowhere to go. And he's not like either Trey Lance or even Joe Burrow or Pat Mahomes, where they can move a little bit. And so he's sitting back there just waiting to be crushed and break another arm or something.
Try to throw a ball. That's a big ask for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, I thought his play kind of worsened as each playoff game went on. I think I said that last week.
Yeah.
And that's why I was a little bit more confident going into this game. Now, it wasn't as large of a spread as maybe I had anticipated it being, but he still was less effective this week than he had been the previous weeks. Hell, he hadn't thrown a touchdown pass until the Rams game in the playoffs. So
he's I try to think of who he reminds me of. It's a guy that you've bought into him.
Brad Johnson.
No, Brad Johnson is better than this. If you're a fan of the team, you've bought into him, and you think there's things he can do, and you're sure that he just needs to get hot or get in a rhythm and all that. And every once in a while, he'll make a pass and gives you hope, which is the worst thing, as we all know. Hope is all.
Well, he's a winner, but he's not very good.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, say all you want about him, like skills wise, he does manage to get his teams to victories when he's
That's
not
what I mean,
hurt.
and I think it makes fans more confident in him than they should be.
Dennis says Jared Goff, and that's not wrong, but I think Jared Goff was way more mistake prone than Garoppolo is. I think, technically speaking, Jared Goff has a higher risk, higher reward than Garoppolo does. But
Vinny Testaverde, that's what I'd go with.
I would say he's more of like Kirk Cousins, just like a less talented Kirk Cousins. Where it's
he's got a better hype machine around him.
But he's more handsome than Kirk Cousins. So,
well, he's a good looking guy. He's got the Tom Brady pedigree, all the sort of stuff that led you to believe, and he got the team to a Super Bowl. So you have this vision of, oh yeah, no, he's very good, and the team is decent, and it's like, yeah, he's fine. But he's like lower, I guess, high replacement level fine. Like you can find somebody that does exactly what Jimmy G does, but maybe he has those leader intangibles or whatever you want to put on him. But
that's what I mean. He's a guy that if you're a fan, you're confident. You've got confidence in him. I don't know if it's because he's good looking or...
I would disagree with that, Greg. I've got a friend who is a 49ers fan. And after this game, boy, no.
I shouldn't say that all 49ers fans, but I think what keeps him going is that there is a contingent, I think in the locker room, in the coaches' offices, that they just think that they're always if we just get this to go right, he'll be great guy. And
is he Tony Romo?
Wow. Romo would put up better numbers, but you know what? That's not a bad comparison.
Look, that interception that sealed the game was very Romo-esque.
That was damn near Kyler Murray-esque. Are you kidding me? that was great.
No, Kyler Murray is a different situation. He throws interceptions because he can't see over the offensive line.
Well, yeah.
No, I think Romo might not be a bad comparison where you always wanted him to be better than he actually was.
He's certainly gone farther in the playoffs than Romo ever did. And
yeah,
one small shout out to Tony Romo for the self-deprecation.
Oh yeah, that was great. That was
late in that game. I've seen guys drop snaps in the playoff before, Jim, and Jim Nance didn't even notice it.
Didn't even catch it.
Went along. Yeah.
Both
very, very good, Tony.
Both Garoppolo and Romo went to the same college, my alma mater, Eastern Illinois. Like they're my friends, basically.
So is this just what Eastern Illinois quarterbacks are like? Like,
I don't know.
Sean Payton
they're
too, right?
Sean Payton, Mike Shanahan.
Sean Payton, the supposed whispered Troy Aikman replacement.
No, Troy just needs to stay where he's at.
No, the rumor going around is that Troy Aikman might take the Amazon money next year, and then Sean Payton would replace him on Fox.
No.
So the Sean Payton thing is another interesting story. He's going to take a year off and then come back to coach, but not with the Saints.
Oh, right. He's waiting for the Cowboys job to open up.
Correct.
He's waiting for Mike McCarthy to get fired.
Yep. Which will 100%. Happen.
I mean, arguably it should have already, but
I would argue he should have never gotten hired again in the first place. But we can go, back and try to correct history for a long time.
And speaking of coaches, what is it? Jim Harbaugh going to?
God, I hope not.
Miami.
I hope not.
Lean in Miami, potentially Minnesota. But I got to tell you, man, I'm so glad the Bears are done with their hiring process stuff because I can't listen anymore Harbaugh shit. Because so many goddamn stupid Bears fans. They're going to bring Harbaugh back. He's chosen one to take us back to the Super Bowl. Prodigal son. No, he's not. He's fine. He's a good coach. Jesus, as soon as the word got out that he was going to Minnesota or Miami, this is a deluge of stupidity. And I mean, if he goes to Miami, fine, whatever.
It is interesting that he's had a contract extension with the Wolverines that has been sitting there since the college football playoff, and he won't sign it. And there's only one reason.
Want to see what his NFL job, his NFL opportunities.
So if you're a Michigan football fan, how do you feel about, or a fan or a player? How do you he's out there shopping around? He just happened to be in Miami for a recruiting trip today. Miami being the hotbed of Michigan football that it is, and all. I don't know. I mean, whatever,
If I were Jim Harbaugh,
he let his defensive coordinator walk right back over to the Ravens where he came from.
if I were Jim Harbaugh, I'd go to the Dolphins. Like, you know what? I will sign on the dotted line right now, but you got to go back to the throwbacks full time. Like,
I'd make that.
I'm not coaching
Yep.
a team wearing this trash.
Hero of the podcast.
Well, I do find I this is much ado about nothing, but I find it a little interesting that John Harbaugh went from in his first stints as a coach, he went from teams that had S's in their logo, from University of San Diego to Stanford to the San Francisco 49ers, and now he might go from Michigan to either Miami or Minnesota.
Oh.
Coincidence?
That goofy fuck's so weird. I bet you he's actually doing that on purpose. I bet you he is.
Yeah.
No, I want him to stay. I don't want him to go anywhere. Ohio State fans are like, good, go. It's like, what is the matter with you people?
As Gary points out, if he gets hired by Miami, just as like a play on it, he needs to wear like khaki shorts in Miami instead of khaki pants, right?
With big high knee socks, that would be hilarious.
For sure.
Look like he's an 85-year-old.
Speaking of coaches in Florida, what in the name of Pete is going on in Jacksonville? There's interviewing one. No one knows what's happening. They're firing their GM. They're not firing their GM. Nobody knows what's going on. And there's all this, like, they said they were hiring Byron Leftwich, then they're not. And it's just like, what the hell is going on in this rabid shithole of a franchise?
You said it, Andy. It's a rabid shithole of a franchise. Like, Jacksonville Jaguars mismanaged? No.
What a shocker.
Well, and the problem is now, like, they're waiting so long. All these other jobs are closing up, and they were they the first or the second team to have an open spot at this point? Yeah. First. Okay. Well, then what the hell is that? Yeah, I don't know what they're doing.
My theory, and I admit this is pure homerism, wish fulfillment, is that the reason the whole Brian Leftwich thing didn't pan out is because Bruce Arians is either retiring this year or after next, and the Bucks have basically said to him, like, hey, just hang on till Bruce is gone and you're going to be our next head coach. And
well, that's what the Patriots in theory had said to Josh McDaniels, and he said, screw it, I'm going to go to the Raiders.
Well, yeah, because Bill Belichick is an immortal demon and will never actually retire. So
I want to know if Bill Belichick pulled a succession and Josh McDaniels is actually his Kendall to his own Logan.
And now Belichick's daughter is in line to take over.
Sure.
What's her name on the show?
Siobhan.
Siobhan, yeah. So she's next. And not Bill. It's like the actual.
Well, no, what's Bill's kid is like a defensive linebackers coach.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, but he's like a defensive linebackers coach, like that dude Radio was a coach in that movie.
Again, to keep up the succession comparison, I think his kid is actually more like Roman than anybody else, so probably makes more sense. Anyway, not to get away from spoilers from all that. I don't know what Jacksonville's up to. I don't know what half these other teams that are waiting so long are up to, especially because we all said that and most everybody agreed the candidate available was Brian Flores, who is still
apparently. So apparently that is an interesting situation because when he was fired, a lot of people in the media were like, "Wow, like the Dolphins seem to be trending in the right direction under him. Why would you fire him?" And then it came out that apparently a bunch of Dolphins players are like, "Oh, thank God he's gone." Like, apparently he was a dick.
Yeah, the Miami Herald put a big hit piece out on him shortly after he was fired, where basically just like as Mike said, he's difficult and not just difficult, he's an asshole to work with. He's a horrible communicator. All the stuff that sounded very slanderous. But you think as slanderous as it sounds, he got interviews around the league very quickly, and nobody called him back. So you got to think it's not just some stuff Miami sour grapes.
Well, the thing that makes me think it's not just sour grapes and that it's not just slanderous stuff is that like it wasn't just the Miami Herald who came out with like players were like saying like, "Oh, thank God he's gone." Like you had players actually saying that he was a dick.
Don't you wonder though, especially in football and in the NFL, how bad do you have to be to have players react to you that way? Because it's not.
I don't know, Joe Judge bad.
Well, I suppose.
I mean,
no, remember they wanted to come back and play for him, Mike, for less money. So that's not the problem.
Urban Meyer. You know,
No, what I'm saying is, it's not like if you're playing football that people, you're a commodity to a coach. I mean, I know that I love coach and all that. Yeah, okay, fine. Until and the minute that you can't get it done anymore, he's not going to love you anymore. But my point is that it's not like it's this big fraternity of everybody's happy and patting each other on the back and stuff. So it makes me wonder, how awful do you have to be to get that kind of reputation? Because we've watched Hard Knocks enough to know that it's not all kumbaya moments on a football team. And you get yelled at, you get called names, all this other stuff. So where do you have to go to get to the point where you're Flores and people are going, yeah, you know what? We had him in for an interview and yeah, they're right about him. He's a jackass. I'm just curious. I don't know what it would be.
The Houston Texans are probably a day or two away from naming Josh McCown their head coach.
Which is the craziest thing.
McCown's back in the league. That's the important thing.
I love it. That stupid franchise.
This reminds me so much of when the Islanders named Garth Snow their GM. And he went from being their backup goalie one day to being like in control of the franchise the next.
But think about all the systems Josh McCown could bring in because he's played in all of them.
He's played for everyone, yeah.
It's the reason he would be named head coach is not because of any necessary qualifying credentials. It's because he is a white Christian Bible thumping, just agreeable, friendly glad hander. That's all he offers.
But that
he
was
loves ball, as they say.
Wasn't David Culley basically the same thing except he was black? I mean, you know,
I don't know. I think they were thinking. Sorry, I don't mean to talk over you. I think they were kind of grooming McCown the last at least couple of years. I think they were trying to get him into this position. I don't know. Sorry, go ahead, Greg.
How many?
He doesn't have. It's not that he doesn't have like head coaching experience. He doesn't have coaching experience.
No, that's what I was just going to say. How many guys that played backup quarterback for 15 years? Like I said, the only thing I can see him bringing to the table is he knows every single fucking offense in the AFC, probably, or at least a good part of it. I don't know if that helps anything or not, but I think Andy's right. I think it's more of a we can make this guy do what we want. He'll quote Bible verses. He'll be glad-hander, and I don't
basically
real.
He'll basically just be a smiling puppet for megachurch Rasputin.
Yeah, right, exactly. He's the Haggerty people coach that thing we had a few weeks ago with the Florida Atlantic, I think, or whoever they bought. I mean, he's like a perfect guy for that. Like he would be sponsored and have no issue with it. I don't know
who's going to be his. What staff is he going to draw? You know,
he's got two brothers, right, or one, two brothers.
I
believe there were two. I mean,
Luke and Josh and Zeppo.
We always joke about Harpo and Zeppo.
Harpo and Zeppo McCown.
But I mean, it's for an NFL team to do this. Like, because I mean, sure, I can't even think of like a high school or a college, junior college that would do this.
I'd like to call a point of order here. Can we even call the Texans an NFL team anymore? Is that
they have a franchise? They are
in a very technical sense, yes.
Sure, technically we can call them that, but
Zach, I think you stumbled on to the answer to Andy's question. You know, what kind of staff is he going to bring in? I don't know, his friends from high school. Like that seems to be the level that Josh McCown, NFL coach, is on anyway. Why not?
It's going to be one of those things where if he gets appointed, he's going to bring in just a F tier staff, and the team is already falling apart. Watson. He's who knows what the hell's going on with Deshaun Watson, but he seems to hate ownership and want out of there too. This franchise was so promising and had at least some competitive fire for a good few years. Yeah, and then they bottom.
And then Easterby took over, and they planted some explosives around that franchise's foundation, and the fuse, and here we are.
Yeah. It's
the Rasputin megachurch.
I mean, it's not like a major league situation where they're trying to bottom out to move somewhere else. Because I mean, Houston's a hell of a place for an NFL franchise. There's no reason to move it anywhere else. Not that this ownership has any logic or sense, but it would be super weird to me if they hired McCown, and he brought in a bunch of nobodies, and they were like, how do you expect to win? And they're like, we're just following the Lord's plan. We're going to allow grace. We're going to allow grace and prayer to carry us to victory. And then they go out, they lose 64 to nothing.
They go 1-16.
You know what? If there's a team out there that would actually move to the Indian land in Arizona and say, fuck you, we're taking your land and building a stadium, it would be these guys. Not for maybe just because they would.
I don't know. The Coyotes are getting pretty desperate for situations. They might.
We might have an old-fashioned Old West war out there between the Coyotes and the Texans over who's trying to screw my people over. It'd be great.
Houston, Chris. It rolls off the tongue. It just sucks, man. I was really excited. Like I was like kind of not a closet fan, but I was, a quiet supporter of the Texans. That
they were a newer team. They were, they were kind of like a fresh face in like the regular AFC, carousel of New England, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore.
You could count on them for a Saturday playoff game every year on Saturday morning. Yeah, it was great.
But I mean, uniforms are okay. Go ahead, Zach. Sorry.
Well, no, just like they've gone through a couple waves of they finally got competitive a few years back with like Matt Schaub and all that, and then Aaron Foster, sure. And now this is the second wave of okay, we were competitive, and now we're ready to like make those next steps, and we got this great quarterback, and even despite what you might say about Bill O'Brien overall, at the time it was like, hey, this is a guy off the Belichick coaching tree that's actually working, and here we go. This is a team ready they're going to dominate this division for years upon years, and it fell apart in an instant because Bill O'Brien started trading away guys for God knows what reasons.
Like DeAndre Hopkins is a perfect example of that.
And then the bottom falls out on Deshaun Watson for despicable reasons, and now here they are with what do you call those? Like a mega church scammer out there trying to put their games on like the Trinity Broadcast Network or something.
It's crazy. A Bill Burr lookalike as your starting quarterback. You're bringing in Zeppo McCown as your coach. This is something that like we would sit down and plan out, except it's actually happening in real life.
Yeah,
the Jaguars are dysfunctional. The Texans are becoming just a joke. They're a punchline.
Like what happened? So I know this is super early for this, but like next season, who's the bigger AFC South dumpster fire? The Jaguars or the Texans?
Texans.
I'm going to go with the Jags still because I think that that's a mess that's going to take quite a while to untangle.
Yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence is skilled enough to at least get them over the Texans hump.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing is that I think maybe Shad Khan doesn't know exactly what he's doing, but I get the feeling that if he were to hire just decent enough people, they could drag them to something mildly respectable. Whereas, like,
they'll hire a coaching staff that has at least coached NFL games before.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas, the Texans have become the NFL franchise equivalent of the Handmaid's Tale, and and there's no fixing it unless you get rid of Easterby, and he's like enraptured the owners, so they're not gonna get rid of him, and so there's no hope for the Texans to ever get out of this slump. Basically, like you need to coup the ownership. Like it's the only way that it's gonna work.
Like, this way. Wasn't it at one point like Houston Texans players were running away from this franchise? They could not get away faster. Whereas, like, yes, the Jaguars are bad, but it's not like you have guys like trying to jump ship every other afternoon. It's
JJ Watt flat out's like, no, I'm out.
I think that we're only probably training camp away from the Bill Burr lookalike at quarterback. What's his name, Zach? The guy from Stanford?
Dylan Mills.
It was something. Davis Mills,
right?
But
Dylan Mills is a quarterback at a high school around here.
We're going to, you know how they do like the 319s and all that.
Yeah.
When Davis Mills comes in the line next year, he's going to yell, "Blessed be the fruit."
Well, how long until Josh McCown just lines up and takes snaps.
I guess no one else watches Handmaid's Tale.
I got it, Greg. I got it.
Fruit. We've been brought good weather.
I've read the book.
At what point does Josh McCown become player coach?
That's a dream. Zach, don't even tease us like that. That's not.
Well, no, Mills gets injured and the backup gets COVID, and all of a sudden, you got Josh McCown being like, "I know the offense." There's no rule that says I can't.
I'm claiming this right now. Josh McCown, Texans player coach for the glorious tournament of victory.
Oh, there you go. Take it. Put it in there.
Look,
who's ever's keeping track of that? That's a good one, Mike.
There's enough ways for like the bad circumstances to happen that.
Oh yeah,
you get to like I said, a point where you get your quarterback gets injured late in the week, your backup twists his ankle or is sick. You can't get the guy out the practice squad in time because of the whatever rules are in place, and then you say Josh McCown, he's thrown in NFL football and knows the offense.
Yeah,
there we go.
I would love to see that happen. That would be so great. I really would, because the world is better when there's a McCown wearing a jersey somewhere in this league. And
how long? Like, you know what? They might even be doing it for all I know before like Texans games are started, not with the national anthem, but with a mandatory prayer.
They can sell extra tickets on the 700 Club.
Yeah, is the closest to Josh McCown being hired Mike Vrabel? Because he didn't. He at least coached a little bit for the Patriots at some point.
No, I've not.
That was fairly
Patriots,
quick.
did he? I think that was always the thing. Like, the reason he's successful on the Belichick tree is because he's never coached with Belichick. Isn't that?
He did.
I don't know.
See,
I'll look him up.
I don't think he was just a straight no coaching. Let's see,
because he retired in 2010.
Oh, he was actually a coordinator on the Texans for a few years before the Titans hired him.
Yeah, he became a linebackers coach. Immediately retired to become a linebackers coach at Ohio State.
That's right.
And then he was with the Texans for a couple of years, and then the Titans. Okay,
so he doesn't count as a Belichick. I mean, he played for Belichick, but he never coached for him.
And the key distinction is he had coaching experience when the Titans hired him.
Well,
yeah.
I mean,
and then I guess the other one that I have a question would be Leftwich. When did he retire? Leftwich retired in 2012.
Well, I thought it was,
and then he became an intern coach for the Cardinals in 2016, and then became the Bucs offensive coordinator only 3 years later. So that's pretty fast.
You know what? I was it Mike? Did you say that you think that maybe Arians is going to step down and Byron Leftwich is waiting to see if that plays out? I don't rule that out because. He's like the guy that would be the coach in waiting there. And given the option of the two, would I rather go to Jacksonville or stay here where I'm familiar with everything? Because, Arians looks like some sort of cyborg when he walks up and down the sidelines. Right now.
Well,
he's got that, what was it, ruptured Achilles?
Yeah.
Well, there was a rumor that he was going to retire at the end of last year. But they won the Super Bowl, and I don't know, the scuttlebutt here is that he decided to stay on basically as long as he had Brady.
Right.
And if Brady is gonna retire sometime soon, then Arians might just decide hey, I've won a Super Bowl. What more do I have to prove here? And then just retire.
Yeah. No.
Well, I thought that I read that Arians was telling his staff they could absolutely interview around the league, no strings attached, because in the wake of the Brady retirement. And I think that Leftwich, since he was prematurely named Jaguars head coach, I think it was on the condition that
they fire Balky. Yeah,
right. And that Adrian Wilson, also former player, I don't know if he played for the Jags or not, was named GM. And I think all these interviews that are happening now are a negotiating tactic to kind of bring down his price, Leftwich's price. But I think that would be the smart move for the Jags to hire him.
And Wilson.
I think that. Well, sorry,
I said him and Wilson. It would be the smart move. Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
It's a boost of energy for a franchise that needs some optimism after the World Trip that was left. The Houston thing, they are becoming. I don't think of the equivalent. Kind of
Is Andy breaking up on you guys or just me?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. You're having some internet issues, Andy. Oh, is he gone? Anyway,
Alabama's not Alabama. Houston is a shit show essentially.
it wasn't what Zach. I knew we were doing the football show, so it's been a while, but it wasn't that long ago that I actually picked the Houston Texans to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl in one of our preseason shows. I mean, yeah. So because you look at they had Watson, they had I think Foster was still with them, but they had another running back that was really good too. I can't think of his name. You had DeAndre Hopkins, the other dude, the other good Texan. I can't think the other wide receiver.
Yeah, they've had guys that have done like I said, they had that first wave of like getting to relevancy, which took a bit, but they finally got division title and the whole thing, and they were good. And then this was going, like I said, this looked like it was going to be the next wave of we've established ourselves as like a legitimate NFL franchise. Yeah. Now let's go do something about it, and it's disappeared just as fast as it arrived. It's
Andre Johnson. That's what I was thinking of. Thanks, Dennis.
We think about this we mention him a lot, but urinating tree had the circumstances right. The Houston Astros sacrificed the soul of the sporting soul of that city.
Yeah.
All of the team, all of them.
And now
every single team.
The succubus demands tribute.
Yes. And it will for all time, apparently.
Well, that's
because the Astros are going to go down the tubes here in a couple of years. The Rockets have never recovered, and down go the Texans into they're going down to the pits of hell, only to be rescued by this 700 club over here. Shout out to Dennis for the reference.
Yeah, that was nice. That was a good one. Should we talk a little bit about the Bengals and the Chiefs?
3-3. The Cincinnati Bengals 3-0 in AFC title games.
Yes, they are. Zach, I was so nervous for you last night because I thought this is just shaping up to be one of those weird things where the Bengals are going to make 3 Super Bowls and play the 49ers every single time.
I thought about it. I definitely thought about it. At the very least, you could say they're only playing teams from California.
Yeah. But
so
that was a fun game because I think we were all rooting for. I'm assuming we were all rooting for the Bengals.
Sure.
And it didn't look good early. They were down 21-3, and you're like, oh boy, this could be it. But then I kept remembering that they were down to them when they played them in Cincinnati a few weeks back.
No, the game was lost for the Chiefs on that final play of the first half.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't do that, and you come out the other side, you get the ball. Like if they just kick a field goal there, you get the ball back. You kick maybe at the minimum, you kick another field goal. That's 6 points. All of a sudden, it's 27-3.
Yeah.
Hey, I've been there. And it looks like hey, game's over. But that gives the Bengals a little hope, and they come out and score the touchdown, and you say, okay, game on. This is not going anywhere anytime soon. And I don't know if something was wrong with Mahomes, but he clearly didn't have it in the second half what he had in the first half. And all credit to Joe Burrow for manufacturing stuff. Sometimes some of those third down conversions with his legs that he was making.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Just getting out of that pressure. That was I think there was one drive where he did it 2 or 3 times in a row. And I said to myself, that is his moment. He is the guy. And so now that's a moment where now you look at the AFC and it's not just Mahomes' conference to run forever. Josh Allen, bless his heart for not winning, and shout out to him for a quality, well-timed tweet during the game.
I couldn't get to open right. What did that tweet say?
Pain.
That's just pain?
Yeah.
Period.
Okay. All right.
Right as the coin toss went to tails, which the Bills guessed last time and lost. But you got Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Herbert, if you want to throw him in there as well.
I would.
Even Lamar Jackson, despite his detriments. And this is a multi-headed beast over there now. And Joe Burrow firmly has placed himself in there with that drive and what he did at the end of that game to make them a Super Bowl team. And again, a team that at various points during the year we didn't think was as good as they've ended up being, but they were locked in that mix with the Steelers and the Ravens and even the Browns. They were all like one game apart from each other for the whole season.
They were very frustrating.
They look great one week and bad the next.
You know,
Right.
they dunk on the Ravens, and you'd go, "Oh man, this is the team. This is the new team to beat." And then they'd, loose the fucking Jets, and you just go,
Right.
"What
Yeah,
the hell,
yeah.
Well, I,
guys?"
mean, I don't want to cleave jack us here, but they had a meaningful. The second game I'm not going to count. The last game of the year, the Bengals didn't give a fuck if they even showed up or not. But the first time they played the Browns curb stomped them in Cincinnati. It was not even close at any moment. And you go, well, because I'd be like, man, the Cincinnati team's good. And then I'd see that and go, maybe they're not. So I don't know. They got hot at the right time, I guess. But wow, what a story. And I don't even know what to say about it. But
I mean, congratulations to our friend McCarthy.
absolutely.
Like, I messaged him on Twitter. I'm like, just enjoy it, man. Like,
Yeah.
these 2 weeks are going to be some of the best of his life as a sports fan, considering who he roots for. I mean, I assume this is probably his best sporting week since the Reds in '91, right?
Is he old enough to remember you mean when the Reds won the World Series in '90?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was in '90. Yeah.
Yeah, 90. They've swept the A's in 4.
I don't know how. I mean, I know he's older than me.
He might be. I don't know. It's. I just think that I mean, when we talked about it last week, and I kept saying I think this team's got a shot because watching them play against the Chiefs, what was it, week 17, and it was just one of those things where you go, this team it was like you guys with the 49ers, Zach. It's like I don't know what it is, but they seem to know how to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And you look at it on paper and go, well, they've got Mahomes, they've got Tyreek Hill, they've got Jared McKinnon, they've got Travis Kelce, they've got the secondary guys and all that, and the Bengals have got Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and that's about it. And you think never in a million years, but they match up well with Kansas City. And Andy, did I pick them to beat the Chiefs last week? I sure hope I did.
Yeah. So but do I sound like a robot again?
No, you're good.
No, you're fine
All right,
now.
this is 100% to blame on my Wi-Fi. I'm going to work to rectify that. So Dennis is like, so much for the fiber. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's my Wi-Fi.
Before we do the picks, this just in, according to ESPN.
Okay.
Tom Brady says on his podcast, it's literally day to day with me regarding retirement.
Okay, Aaron Rodgers, now go fuck yourself. I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah,
Really? Brett
Nobody-
Favre 2.0, 3.0.
It also sounds like he's probably going to decide soon, but it's not going to be.
I'm
today,
telling you,
so.
him and Rodgers are sitting back to see which one goes first, so the other one can have the San Francisco job. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
They both
Anyway.
were number 12, and I'm almost positive number 12 is retired by the 49ers for John Brody, but I could be wrong about that. Fuck both of them. Just go away, both of you, will you please? Good Lord.
That's the spirit.
God.
So the pick wise, Greg, you and I both were correct last week. Zach and Mike were correct about the Rams, but they chose the Chiefs. So, so basically, Greg, it's down to you and me. But we can go ahead and make our Super Bowl picks here. By the way, real quick before we get into that, I would just like to emphasize this is the first time in my memory that I can recall of a Super Bowl or championship, otherwise championship game between two team justices. Rare occasion because you have the Rams who ousted Brady, and then you have the Bengals who ousted the Mahomes family and fiancés.
Oh God!
Speaking of which,
I've got to talk about the fiance. I saw her reaction, the reaction of the champagne, and I swear to God, I'm not making this up. I'm not embellishing it. Her exact words were, "I wish I could just do what I want, and people would just leave me alone.
I wish I could do whatever I want and not get attacked." That was
that's what
quote.
it was. Yeah, something like that. I was like, wow.
How
fucking tone deaf can you be?
Well, and of course, Greg, but here's the deal. They started making T-shirts that said Team Brittany. They were selling them for a good cause, and therefore this woman in Middle America who's just living with her high school sweetheart and raising a family is being attacked by all these goddamn liberal snowflakes, and of course Fox News supporting her and her retweeting it, and et cetera, et cetera.
Wait, what?
Down the rabbit hole. Oh yeah.
How?
If you want to real like get mad at the rest of the country sort of thing, go onto her Twitter feed and like just scroll through it for the last week, and that'll get your blood up a little bit.
So
I think.
Fox News is backing her?
Yeah.
Why?
Because she's just some girl that was trying to raise money for autism kids.
She's a fucking bimbo that sprayed champagne all over people. Didn't want champagne sprayed all over.
No, she's a nice lady that's with her high school sweetheart and trying to raise a family. Greg,
not everything is a political thing. Fox, fuck off. Jesus Christ.
I do want to say regarding Andy's statement. No, y'all can go fuck yourselves. Tom Brady forever.
Well, to further,
whatever, Montana's better.
I also want to add an additional kick to the crotch of the Kansas City Chiefs for tweeting this stupid.
Oh my
God! We weren't supposed to be here. Nobody picked us to do anything. We
were the number 2 seed.
You were probably the safe bet to win the AFC championship.
I guarantee you, if you go back to the beginning of the season and look at all the predictions that the Chiefs, the AFC representative from like say ESPN, Fox Sports, Yahoo Sports, they're going to be on 65% of the writer picks to be the AFC championship at the beginning of the season, and they're not supposed to be there. Go fuck yourselves, all of you. Sorry, go ahead.
I was like, what world do you live in?
Yeah.
This like insular, like
I don't want consequences.
Well, I mean, there's that, but it's also just like this whole thing of like the perception of like we're the underdogs. It's us against the world. And it's like, fuck no, you've got a league MVP. You've like been one of the most successful franchises.
You've been to the AFC title games 4 years in a row.
You've got got the quarterback that almost everyone is saying is the next great quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
No, the Chiefs were the smart money to come out of the AFC, and good riddance on them for getting eliminated.
Yeah,
Fuck
nice job throwing that dumbass pick, dumbass team, chump ass fucking frauds.
After the first pick that Eli Apple, Ohio State alum, like hit him right in the hands and dropped, and whatever. I'm just so glad the Bengals won. I'm very happy about that. I've seen some Browns fans going, "Oh, I hate the Bengals." It's like that's like hating puppies to me. I get it if it's the Steelers, I get it if it's the Ravens, but really the Bengals? They're like
the Bengals.
Part of the state. What the hell's the difference?
Being a Bengals fan is just a very slight half step up from being a Browns fan, all things considered. Like you're both in Ohio.
We're both awful.
You both have the same origin story with Paul Brown. You similar damn colors, similar damn uniforms for a while. And yes, the Bengals have made it to Super Bowls. That is the slight difference between the two, but they got trucked both times. So what exactly are you celebrating as a Bengals fan that you're not as a Browns fan?
Technically, they weren't trucked the second time. They had their hearts ripped out of them after a Joe Montana last second comeback.
That's how the GOAT does it, baby.
But again, it's like if you took the names out of it, let's say, and just presented the two resumes side by side of like fan base history and trauma and wins and losses.
Yeah. They're basically
they're nearly indistinguishable from each other. So
I can't hate on the Bengals. I'm sorry. The Steelers and Ravens I'm okay with, but it's like no, I understand they're a divisional rival and all that, but I can't do it.
Although this actually does bring up a really interesting point if you look at the AFC North. Like the Steelers are the odd team out. The other three are like intrinsically related.
That's right.
The Bengals are basically Paul Brown's attempt to do the Browns again, and then the old Browns became the Ravens, but then not really, and then the new Browns are the old Browns. So yeah, like outside of the Steelers, these three teams are like bonded on a spiritual level.
I think they should move all three of those teams to West Virginia, where it makes more sense to be kind of tied together like that.
To be the football
inbred going on there, right?
Well, I mean, the Browns, I believe, are part of the Lake Erie Trinity of Buffalo, Detroit, and
Cleveland.
themselves.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like there's a
Lucky
strange
us.
brethren there. I don't know. I think there's
What about
definitely
Chicago?
Chicago
No,
is basically
totally
well,
different
no. But I mean, Chicago's allies are strangely everyone else in the NFC North, but the Packers. Like,
Yeah.
we are all unified in our hatred of them. So it kind of works
The
out.
united front against the bad man.
Correct. Yeah. So I mean, somebody's got to stop the Nazis. We can't just let them run unfettered.
I will say this: like, if the Browns and Bengals play, it's not like it's friendly. Oh, hi, how are you? Cousin, uncle, daddy. But
Uncle Daddy.
But it's not the same hatred that you have for the Steelers or the Ravens.
I think what Zach was trying to say, and this will only make sense if anyone listening has seen No Way Home, is that when the Bengals and the Browns play each other, it's like that scene where Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield first look face to face and realize that they're the same person from different
universes. Spider-Man pointing meme. Yeah.
It's kind of
or it's like the Office meme where it's like, you put the Browns logo up, you put the Bengals logo up, and someone says, pick the difference between these two pictures, and then you say it's the same picture. It's the same thing. It's like, I get it. Again, your in-state rivals, your division rivals. You hate each other, but you have more in common than you don't. So.
Your cities both start with C.
Yeah.
You both have orange helmets.
Well, hell, I mean, really, Ohio on the whole, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Columbus, come on.
Canton.
Yeah.
Well,
Toledo.
I don't know about Toledo, but
I mean,
Toledo's more of a huh?
I said Toledo, Cochrane.
Oh, yeah. No, anyway, I guess to get back to the original point is I don't have a lot of hatred in my heart for the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm rooting for them. I hope they take this thing all the way.
Yeah,
because
it's like
somebody needs to bring that fucking trophy to Ohio. I don't care who gets it here. Somebody get it here.
Well, isn't Ohio like the spiritual birthplace of American football or some such shit?
Supposedly, the Canton Bulldogs, I guess, or one of those.
Well, and it's like you were referencing on Twitter over the weekend, Greg, where Joe Burrow he's not a Cincinnati kid necessarily, but he's an Ohio kid.
He's Ohio hillbilly
from Southern Ohio at that.
Yeah.
Didn't he go to Ohio before?
I don't know if he went to OU. He went to Ohio State.
He went to Ohio State, right, before transfer.
No, and I don't say that in a disparaging way because I'm a hillbilly too. I'm fucking proud of it. Joe Burrow was an Ohio hillbilly.
Well,
he was a half hour from West Virginia, and I got news for you that if you get south of like Chillicothe, Ohio, which is a little bit east of Columbus, and it's not like the Midwestern accent just completely disappears. It becomes a Southern accent the minute you get into that part of the country.
And I don't know, like as you said, Greg, in the group text, as the Bengals were completing that comeback, and a Ohio hillbilly will lead them.
Right? Yeah, exactly. That's it. And an Ohio hillbilly shall lead them.
And speaking of the city of Cincinnati,
Anderson rides again.
The Cincinnati School District has already announced that all public schools in Cincinnati will get the day off after the Super Bowl.
Good,
no matter what.
So. You know what? Like more places should be cool like that. Like, come on, like
it's time.
How did I miss this, Gary? With like maybe one of the greatest comments ever. We need a bath drinking game. Every time Greg says, "Go fuck yourselves," we all take a shot. Hey, go for it, guys.
Yeah.
I promise you I won't try to I'll only say it naturally. I won't try to influence it or to get anybody drunk, but yeah, that's probably
well, I mean
it's something about me. I'm not sure what. Maybe
we have to make sure that the Mahomes family doesn't get brought up or people will die. I mean that's
God. Well someone else pointed out about the Super Bowl that if you put the logos together, it's the blah Super Bowl.
Nah.
This is gonna be
also the first Super Bowl with two animal-themed helmets going against each other. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, literal animal-themed helmets. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Not like the lion
tiger stripes with ram horns. That's
yeah.
pretty good.
I feel like there should be we need to just take the initiative, make it a federal law, whatever, a national holiday, or move the fucking thing to Saturday.
No, you know what? Somebody brought this up on a different podcast. You know exactly what they're doing by adding all these extra weeks and stretching this out. The game's going to get to President's Day at some point.
Ah.
And then you don't have to do anything.
So it's a holiday without making it a holiday.
Uh-huh.
Ah.
Just schedule the fucking thing then. Like, don't.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, they can move it back, but then you have the traditional start date of like the Saturday or the Sunday after Labor Day, and it makes sense.
What's wild is when I was a kid, the Super Bowl was done by now.
Oh sure, yeah.
The 31st of January. It was 2 weeks ago at this point, and they played it in the daytime, which I don't know. Like, that's not a big deal to me. But
I still remember watching Super Bowls that when kickoff began, it was light out.
I swear that the first time the Niners and the Bengals played, that game started at like 2 p.m. I'm sure I'm wrong about that, but it sure felt like it. And
I mean, the game always starts at 3:00 here, so I don't know what you guys are talking about.
But it's just they were talking about where did I hear them talking about that? That game was so highly rated in '81, the Super Bowl, the first 49ers and Bengals. Like, we don't know what
it was.
It
was
like,
Simmons, but yeah.
Highest rated one ever, and they're like, we don't understand why. It's because you didn't look it up. Having lived there at the time, I can tell you, because it was like 13 fucking degrees was not a thing in the world to do. That was the entire Northeast. All of us were stuck in this miserable cold weather with all the snow. So of course, everybody was home watching the game. That's a big part of it. And I think it was because it was.
I'm still waiting for the year that the Super Bowl falls on Valentine's Day. That'll be fun for everyone.
I mean, we're damn close, right? It's the 13th.
Yeah.
It's
it's gonna happen
next year. It will
couple
happen.
years.
It will fall on the right. Does it go day
Hold
forward?
on, let me see. I'll see. Super Bowl.
Yeah, my Cleveland Browns.
It's
gonna win it all next year.
We need to have some sort of
next year. Next year it's February 12th, so it's actually moving back.
Okay.
Well, the reckoning is upon us for the sports count. Like, baseball starts. It now almost always starts in snow. Like, baseball starts in snow.
Isn't it? Doesn't like spring training is, I mean, literally only like 10 days. Well, pitchers and catchers are like 10 days.
If there's a a labor
season right now,
but I mean, like when the regular season starts, it is rain. That's icy rain and snow and miserably cold. The NFL season starts in summer, in September. Everyone's like, "Oh, fall is finally here, football," and it's 97 degrees.
All right.
So I mean, we need to just sort of fix things up, because at the rate we're going, it's going to be fucking early March by the time the NFL is done, and it's not right. We need to make some minor adjustments here to fix this shit up.
By the way, according to what I can find, the next several Super Bowls that have been scheduled or awarded, the latest we get is the 13th.
Huh?
It's the 13th this year. Next year's the 12th. Year after that's the 11th. And then 2025 is the 9th. And then 2026, it goes back to the 13th.
Just to give you an idea of the power of the mighty NFL, the Daytona 500 would normally be run on the weekend of the Super Bowl, but they're like, now we're not even messing with that. We'll move it back a week.
No, the PGA Tour, I think, is starting its golf tournament this weekend, or that weekend, a day earlier than normal, so it ends on a Saturday, so they don't have to deal with the Sunday. Yeah,
I mean, it's just, I think
they did that this last week too.
Well, the NFL just one day decided, you know what, fuck you, we're going to the second week of February, and everybody's like, well, get out of the way. I mean, not even like a whimper, just like, okay, move.
You look at the NHL schedule. I think every Super Bowl Sunday they schedule one game for the morning, maybe two, and then they abandon it.
Same with the NBA, right? Does the NBA play like? Did they do like like at least a single game, maybe a double header, because the Super Bowl starts so late? But like kind of a, like they're almost showcase games. Like, watch us if you don't want to sit and watch the studio crew talk about the same
8 hours of pregame shows.
Yeah.
I spend my pre-Super Bowl watching the NFL Films highlights of all the past Super Bowls.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Smoke a ton of weed and watch those.
It's been I've been doing that minus the weed for.
No, I'm kidding about the weed. I do that too. I love it. I do. I love it.
But no, since I was a little kid, that's kind of been my tradition. So.
Oh man, the NFL Films Super Bowl marathon is the best. Just perfect. And I like the I think my favorite one's probably Super Bowl 4, just because the uniforms look so fucking good in that game. No, it was the Super Bowl for 7. When did the Dolphins play the Vikings? That was a good one too. Yeah, but anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't even know where the fuck we are at this point. What were we talking about that led us to this rabbit hole?
We could make predictions if you wanted to make your predictions for the Super Bowl.
You want to make it now, or do you want to make it next week?
Yeah, it's up to you guys. We got a whole 2 weeks to kill here.
Well, I mean, my pick is spoken for, so it's not really up to me.
I
think everybody knows I'm riding my hot hand here. I'm not changing anything.
Okay.
But,
I mean, I'm not going to be upset no matter who wins. But I feel like I would be slightly like a micro, the smallest measurement possible, more happy if the Bengals won, just because those fans haven't had anything for so long. But
Hey,
the Rams,
we're starved. We haven't won a world championship in 2 years.
Okay, California. Let's just chill the fuck out. But I mean, again, I'd be delighted if the Rams won too. Like there's no wrong answer for me in terms of. It just
occurred to me.
We talked all about the Bengals fans and all that. Matthew fucking Stafford.
How about that, huh?
Holy shit, man! Like, if there's a guy to be happy for, it is that poor son of a bitch.
Exercised those Detroit demons, didn't he?
He was 0-3 with the Lions in his playoff career. He's now 3-0 with the Rams.
Yeah, and on his way to the Super Bowl.
Speaking though of playoff records and kind of tying back to the previous NFC North thing, the Bengals this year have in this one season have more playoff wins than Mike Tomlin's had in the past 10 years as the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I think somebody mentioned they have more playoff wins than the Cowboys have had since like
yes they do.
Yeah, I just think it's great because going into the playoffs, I guess the only team that who else would have gotten the we love the underdog thing here like the Bengals did.
Of the teams that made it?
Yeah, even if the Raiders go on the same improbable run, people aren't going to be as into it as this. Right? You think?
Yeah, no, like the Eagles, everyone's gonna hate because they're Philly.
Yeah. So this was
the Niners are a legacy team,
right?
The Cardinals are bad. When
if you want to take all the heels and shit out of it, I think we got the best matchup we could get here.
Agreed.
I mean, Bills would have been okay, but you look at the NFC field. Do we want Brady again? No offense, Mike, but fuck no, we didn't.
Yeah, I guess the other team would have been the Bills.
Yeah,
that's it.
But we didn't want. I mean, some people wanted the Cowboys. I get it. But I didn't want to see the fucking Cowboys.
No,
the Packers. I don't know, man. This is Aaron Rodgers thing. That just fucking either go away. Just go away. That's all I'm asking. Shut up. Make up your mind and shut up. That's it. Be done.
They have a legacy of people hating them for their history, but you could talk yourself into the Raiders being a feel good story considering all the shit that happened to them this year.
And John Madden died too.
John Madden and their coach leaving, and that the receiver leaving. That's not really their fault.
I think the hapless Bengals were the only version of the story that worked from beginning to end.
Oh sure, yep,
yeah.
I mean, maybe the continual underdog Titans, if you really want to.
Nah, not until they fix their uniform.
I mean, they had a shot.
Take a drink, boys.
they had a shot to be in this position, and Ryan Tannehill threw 3 interceptions. So
maybe if they weren't decapitated by the swords on their shoulders, they would have.
How many injuries you figure those things are causing every week?
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's going to be a fun Super Bowl. I mean, I'm Zach. I would normally root for your guys, but I got to stick with my hometown.
Oh, I get it.
My home state team here, but I'm happy whoever wins. I really.
Yeah. I was even saying to people when we were watching the game after it ended, we're like, if the Rams lose, of course I'll be sad and disappointed that they lost, but it's not like the last time we went. Like when we lost the Patriots, like God fucking damn it, that team, that quarterback, that coach again. Son of a bitch. I'm so over this.
Yeah.
But if we lose to the Bengals, it'd be like, man, that sucks. I mean, I'm happy for them, but it sucks for us. But good for Cincinnati.
You'd be like the Russians smiling at the Americans at the end of Miracle kind of thing. Right?
The the Cubs Indians thing comes to mind as far as like
Sure.
whoever loses. It's like, I mean, even if I'd been on the other side of the situation, I would have been like, yeah, fucking Cleveland.
I mean, I didn't want to lose, and it at first you're like fuck, but then you're like, yeah, but man, the Cubs just won the World Series,
right?
And you got to see it, so it's not the worst thing.
It's a situation where regarding, I actually think that there's there's elements to both that I think I'd want to see. Yeah, I want to see both win. The Bengals, obviously, we've talked about it. They're kind of the ultimate baby faces here. Nobody predicted this team was going to do anything this year, and they made it to the Super Bowl, and they, beat the Chiefs, who nobody apparently believed in, but whatever. And they've and so obviously, if the Bengals were to win, it would be a really good story for that fan base and that team. On the other hand, with the Rams, like the LA was dicked around when they had the Rams taken from them by St. Louis. I'm sorry.
And the franchise, when it finally did win a fucking Super Bowl,
was in St. Louis. Yeah,
was somewhere else, as Dennis says, smeared with Provel cheese.
Smeared with Provel cheese, right? And it's like, I'm sorry, St. Louis, cultists and other fucking assorted St. Louis ghouls, but
the Los Angeles Rams have never won a Super Bowl.
The Los Angeles Rams, the Rams do belong in Los Angeles, and they are back, and there is
technically speaking, LA's original professional, the only of two. Well, no, I guess technically, never mind. They started in Cleveland. I always forget. Sorry.
You're about to take away my Cleveland Rams, weren't you?
The Cleveland Rams, but no, and so there is something to be said for saying, like, wouldn't it be really cool that the Los Angeles Rams don't have to say, yeah, our one Super Bowl came in the city that stole the team from us.
Yeah,
so like,
I agree with that.
So I mean, honestly, it's a situation where there are feel good stories to be had both ways, and it does kind of suck in the sense that you kind of want to see both of these teams do it, but one team's got to win. For the sake of predictions, I mean, I've been underestimating this Bengals team the entire time. I don't think I would stand by those decisions. I just can't. I just cannot pick them over the Chiefs after seeing them like bumble their way through that Titans game, where it seemed like both teams are desperately trying to lose. But so maybe I'm just maybe I'm just kind of still in that headspace. I got to pick the Rams because, look, that Bengals O-line is not the greatest, and the Rams have a very dominant pass rush. And yeah, Joe Burrow is not he is a dynamic quarterback. He can make stuff happen, but I got to think that if the Rams if the Rams rush D is making him scramble all game long, he's not going to be able to get into any sort of rhythm. I'm picking the Rams to win just on the basis of that alone.
That I was going to say that if I were a Bengals fan, my only concern would be the offensive line versus that Rams defensive front. That's the most clear advantage I think either team has over the other one.
It's a clear advantage, and it's a huge one. Like, if Burrow is running for his life all day, then that Bengals offense isn't going to be able to accomplish much. And I think that's going to be the difference.
Well, you look at I think the Niners have a pretty decent offensive line, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron Donald didn't get any sacks yesterday, but he was disruptive as all hell.
Yeah.
And I look at that, I watched that, and I'm going, oh my God, those poor Bengals linemen. That's going to be rough. But you never know. But
I feel like it'll come down to McPherson one more time. Well, I mean, for real, I think it'll be one of those things where the game is on the line, whether it's to tie or to take the lead or whatnot. I think it's going to come down to this, because that's been the thing this whole postseason, kickers and McPherson especially. I think it's going to come down to that.
Anybody know if he went full? Hey, coach, we're headed to the Super Bowl.
I don't know.
I don't know about that one. Hey, it's not like the Rams kicker, Matt Gay's missed a couple, unfortunately. But he's made the bigger ones.
I just what I'm hoping for is a game that's as entertaining as the last 2 weekends have been. If we get that, it's fine. You know,
if the offenses can perform to their capability, I think so. But the difference in this, and I think the difference really in the Rams' entire playoff run, the defensive line, the entire unit, and I can't get out of my head the way that they look like the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line looked like, a mesh bag against the Titans. And I think the Rams defensive line is much better than what the Titans put out there. So if it's going to be up to the Bengals to keep Joe Burrow upright and to keep this thing close. If it's a blowout the Rams way.
I agree completely.
And if the offenses can both act high octane, it'll be close. My fear after watching the Niners game, Sean McVay coaches himself into a pretzel sometimes and inexplicably just like throws away challenges and timeouts like they're candy, and you're like, what the hell are you doing? This is going to be a one-score game.
Sean McVay is I think he is probably deserving of the term offensive genius, but that also means he is liable to outthink himself. And it's like sometimes you just do the simple thing. He gets that way too. I've noticed when he
here we should do this, but they're going to expect us to do that, so we should do that. I'm not going to do it, so I'm going to do the fifth option. It's like
I'm going to do like past plays for days. It's like just run the clock out, you idiot. But yeah,
well, you're forgetting an important fact that Sean McVay is a time goblin. And he looks into the future, and he has like a kaleidoscope of possibilities when he gazes into his laminated sheet.
That would explain like he's blowing all those challenges and timeouts, I guess.
Well, again, like
Andy Reid.
A moment where I thought the Rams had lost the game, and thank God for Mike or Kyle Shanahan for being equally overthinker.
Mm-hmm.
When McVay challenged that fourth down spot on the Stafford, go for it. Or no, not the fourth down. It was the Niners were going for it. And he threw out a challenge on like a fumble. And it's like, guy, they're lining up to punt right now. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And then the Niners come out with the offense, and you're like, oh, fuck, they're going to go for this. They're going to get this. They're going to convert, and it's going to be the end of this. And it'll be all McVay's fault for making this decision. And then Kyle Shanahan outthought himself, then went to go punt anyways. And it's like, what the?
Yeah,
you could have put the nail in our throat, and you are pulling.
I feel like at that point, it's just like two guys staring at each other, like going, as they just get high off the smell of their own genius, I guess.
You can see the smoke coming out of both of their ears. Just like
Which, to be fair, I would much rather see than another like John Gruden, Hugh Jackson matchup, which is
are you kidding me?
The other side, the other end of that spectrum.
I would pay money to watch that matchup. God,
we had it. We had it that 1 year. It was the clash of intellectual titans.
We need to have like the Super Bowl is a pregame game, like played at a different site where it's like the idiot coach bowl, where like we got Hugh Jackson,
Joe Judge.
Hugh Jackson
quarterback sneak your way 80 yards down the field.
Yeah, Joe Judge versus Hugh Jackson, and oh my God, would that be the greatest thing ever? I don't know.
Speaking of which, Kirk Cousins, Pro Bowler.
Really?
Aaron Rodgers said he didn't want to play.
I was going to say that's usually what happens. Baker Mayfield's going to make the Pro Bowl, not because he deserves it, but because no one else.
The seventh quarterback available.
Yeah.
So can we?
What a sad legacy the Pro Bowl is now. It's just a disgrace.
Yeah,
just a fucking
Look, at this point, I just I want to have the annual call to abolish the Pro Bowl. Like, I understand for some god fucking dumb reason it draws ratings, but The dignity of
Yeah.
the game surely needs to supersede that.
Well, I don't know. You don't need to cancel the Pro Bowl. What we need to do is make a bigger deal out of the all pro teams than we do.
Mhm.
Because everyone's like, oh, he was a 6-time Pro Bowler. It's like, that doesn't mean anything. Like, honestly, if you get, the goal is to not play in the Pro Bowl. You'd like to at least make it a conference championship weekend so you don't have to go to the Pro Bowl. In as when they do like the NFL honors award show that they always do now to announce MVPs and whatever, they should also use that as a platform to be like, here is the all pro team for the year, and here's your starting 11 on both sides, and that's it.
My mom actually, of all people, had a really funny observation about that. I was talking to her, and she goes, "Why do they even have the Pro Bowl? Why can't you just name like an all-star roster and not have the game?" And I said, "They do that. They just also do the Pro Bowl too."
They just don't. They don't make a big deal about it.
The Pro Bowl still is going to be probably the 18th most watched television event.
Oh, it will draw the World Series, yeah.
And people bet money on it. It's unbelievable.
No. The Pro Bowl is the reason that people keep trying the XFL and the USFL, because TV executives look at this shit and go look at this bullshit football game that drew these ratings. Yes, bring us some shitty football.
Give us more
Mike,
shitty football.
Yeah,
that's brilliant. We should actually start the bullshit football league, where it's just it's garbage. You just have what kind of scheme are you running? Nobody cares. I don't know. We'll just make it up the day of.
The USFL might become that. They hired Jeff Fisher.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. Dude, I'm totally in on Jeff Fisher as the fucking Michigan Panthers.
Are you a Michigan Panther fan, Andy?
Are they going to go fucking 4-5 or whatever?
How many games is the USFL playing? Because whatever it is, just
an 8-game season, I believe.
8?
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah, okay, so go the Michigan Panthers ain't going fucking 4-4 according to
3-5. I say 3-5, Zach.
I'm in it for the memes, baby. I cracked myself up the other day on Twitter. I was fucking around just with Jeff Fisher memes, just making them. Nobody interacted him. Nobody favorited him. Nobody saw him. I was just fucking around myself.
I saw your thread and I was like, I'm just gonna let Andy do what he's doing.
It was just my little happy place where Jeff Fisher is watching his players in the Michigan Panthers run for a touchdown, but he visualizes them being Kevin Dyson making it past the goal line in the Super Bowl and just tripping balls on Oxycontin and I just want chaos to reign. I want it to be a total fucking mess.
He starts calling his quarterback Steve McNair. Good pass, Steve. Good pass.
Eyes glazed over, fucking drinking a water bottle with painkillers diluted in them. Just meandering shit about being fired from the Rams, and
I don't know whoever was oh god, what was his name? The guy who coached the LA Wildcats in the XFL.
Oh God!
Who was just fucking lounging on the bench mid game.
Oh, in the XFL. Yeah. What was his name? Yeah, we had a good time with him. Who was that?
They just had a shot of him on the sidelines one game, and he was just thighs spread, arms across the back of
the Winston Moss.
Winston Moss, right? Yeah,
that's a great name.
They need to immortalize that scene of him in a bronze statue outside of the Dignity Sports Park.
We need to have cigarettes on the sideline. We need to bring it back officially.
Oh, of course.
These teams. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
All these teams are just destroying. They're going to be destroying these fields. What people? It's all taking place in the same town. So, what people are going to show up? It's not like people are going to caravan from Michigan to watch football in Birmingham. There's going to be 20 guys there, drunk, and they're going to be ripping cigs. So who gives a fuck? Just make it weird.
The XFL gave us some great coaches. Defensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Vipers, Jerry Glanville, and his 2 headsets.
Yeah. GTOV entrant Jerry Glanville and his 2 headsets.
Oh God, yeah.
Andy, what was that thing we were texting last night? You said something about Matt Damon. I'm like, he meant it just as a description of the commercial. I'm like, it sounds like a GTOV entry. It literally did.
I've already called dibs on it. It's Matt Damon in a spaceship buying jizz coin. That's just like
God,
this stupid, just made up.
I don't know. Is that better or worse than LeBron James trying to dress up him shilling for Ruffles as a social justice cause?
Oh man, what is going on with that? Why? Like it is the modern equivalent of Pepsi figuring out race relations between us and the police.
Well, because I the first time I saw this commercial, it's like LeBron James. He's like talking about like, you know, you can rise above hate and you can rise above the adversity that society puts in your way. And yes, you're watching this and you're like, oh, that like what kind of, you know, are you starting a new initiative, LeBron? Like what's going on? And then it's like Ruffles, own your ridges. Like, oh, fuck you.
Potato chip. It's a potato chip. Like what?
Do all this, but first make sure you buy Ruffles.
It
was just I know. I don't know what to say about it even. There's a lot of crazy stuff out there.
I gotta say real quick while we're on like we're moving on to the championship game. I gotta thank the Cowboys fans for not letting me down. There were several videos of their fans breaking televisions. I was not let down. You guys did not disappoint me. Broken televisions were had.
All right. How about them Cowboys? Way to go, gang.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Last thing. It's not just Pro Bowl weekend in Vegas. It's NHL All-Star weekend in Vegas.
At the same time?
Yeah.
You have the skills competition on Friday, the All-Star game on Saturday, and then the Pro Bowl on Sunday.
Which one will
what a weekend.
The most
is that skills competition thing that you texted us? Is that legit?
That's legit. Yeah, they're gonna have
it's blackjack, right? Or 21.
There's two things. One is the NHL Fountain Face-Off, where they're gonna take players out on a boat into the middle of the Bellagio fountains and have them shoot at targets that look like the face-off circles and nets. And then the other one is the blackjack, where you're going to have this giant wall of cards where the players have to make 21 or beat the dealer or don't bust, whatever the rules are going to be. Do it.
If I was an NHL player and I was in that competition, I'd just go straight for the Austin Powers meme. I'd like stay on 8.
Well, here's the fun part. We're gonna learn what NHL players can count.
Yeah.
Oh no.
No.
Like Patrick Kane goes out there and just like let's see, 8 plus Jack equals add the 5.
Fucking Evander Kane. God damn.
I can't fucking believe that. Like,
what a bunch of shit.
Fuck the Oilers. Fuck that nonsense.
That doesn't even. Not only is it bullshit and nonsense, but it doesn't even make sense because he's not what they need.
No.
They don't need another offensive.
Well, hey,
player.
They'll just throw him in goal behind Mike Smith and hope it works.
No, Mike Smith is still in. Mike Smith is still on injured reserve.
What's his name? Koskinen.
I know this because Mike Smith's on my fantasy team. He's been out since the first fucking game of the season because he stubbed his thumb.
I am so glad I didn't draft him. I think I had a shot at him. I took the guy from Calgary instead, and he's been fucking lights out. It's awesome. But let's save the hockey talk for next week, guys. We've got stuff that we need to talk. Like we need topics.
Yeah, I was real quick, Zach. I started laughing because the way you described that one competition, I thought like you take a bunch of NHL players and you put them on a boat and you just take them out to the middle of the ocean and then you just drive off and whoever makes it back wins. I think that'd be awesome. Like,
sure. Like, I mean, I don't think the Bellagio fountains are terribly deep, so I think they'd be able to walk out of them. But
or they go into the Gulf of Mexico, somewhere in the Pacific Ocean, or Atlantic Ocean.
Can we work Pawn Stars into this? Like
Bill Kessel's drowning. Somebody throw him.
No, Phil Kessel needs to survive so he can lay claim to the native land.
So
in Arizona,
the Indians, and
he's the guy who's going to plant the Arizona Coyotes flag on the Indian land and claim it.
Out there, Coach.
That would be the best thing.
Here's some blankets and some Bibles and a flag. Go on,
all
go
the
for
things that have happened to my poor ancestors over the years. Phil Kessel planting a fucking flag on Indian land.
Well, like,
Would be both the greatest thing ever and the worst indignation we've ever
well,
faced.
Killing blow.
well, like Andy, I think just said it best. Where it's like there's some scummy fucking like Arizona Coyotes boardrooming. It's like, well, like we've exhausted all our arena options. What else do? Well, we could just take the land from the Indians.
Bunch of guys in Union blue suits and fucking Winchesters, just like finish the job, sir. Anyway, we're losing the fucking thread now.
We lost the thread 3 hours ago.
It's Commanders Week, baby. Commanders Week.
That's right. Go Comrades.
I can't. I'm gonna laugh when it is Commanders, and it's like, why did any of you think that this stupid team was, smart enough to pull off a misdirection?
The Washingtons would have been a better name, I think. The 32s. You know what? I'm not saying because you guys are gonna get too drunk, but just Dan Snyder, get a clue. How's that?
There you
know what?
go.
Fuck off, Dan Snyder, for fuck's sake.
He'll send his drones after us.
That's true. He's done it before.
All right, let's close up shop till next week. We got a lot to
unpack. Yeah, let's call it a night. So anyway, folks, hope you enjoyed that one. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, not Spreaker, fuck them, Stitcher, YouTubes, and wherever fine podcasting is sold. And with that,
there's another one before we go.
There is?
No, you're just saying fuck them.
It's a little more drink.
Oh yeah.
Well, y'all be hungover tomorrow, won't you? All right, so we'll see y'all next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Go Rams.